if you're overweight, you're eating too many calories, that is why you're fat and that is your fault. That is the current model that we have for obesity. And yet if we look at the genetics of obesity, for a lot of people, we're talking about multiple different genetics that feed into their body weight overall. We know 40 to 70% of our body weight is heritable, which is quite heritable, not as much as height, but anyway. But for a very small number of people, they have a single gene defect which can lead them to be obese. Now, this is not common, but we do have a team of researchers here in the UK, in Cambridge, who look at patients who have these genetic causes for obesity. And what's really fascinating is they say people view obesity as a metabolic problem. But actually, if you look at these children, and it's often young children who manifest with severe obesity because of these genetic issues, if you look at these children, they're not eating the same as their peer group. They're eating a lot more food. And that's what leads them to be overweight. It's not that they have a gene defect that makes them fat when they eat the same amount of food. It's that they have a genetically increased driver to eat, which when you think about it isn't so much a metabolic problem as it is a neurological problem. Yet we don't blame these children for being greedy because we know they have an increased driver because of a genetic defect. And what's really interesting is when we look at how some adults respond to GLP-1s, and it's not all, but it's a significant number of people. They're not talking about what foods they're eating. For the first time ever, we're not looking at a diet as specifically what food should I be putting in my mouth. They're talking about being on a GLP-1 and how it affects their food noise and how it affects their satiety. And often these patients are some of the ones who have the massive dramatic responses to these medications. Could it be that for some of these patients, we've been telling them what to eat for years when actually what was wrong was their driver? Because that's what we're tackling. Maybe the way that we've been approaching obesity is wrong. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what research comes out in this area, because maybe we've been blaming people who have defective drivers. There's definitely a wide range of why people struggle with obesity, but simply blaming people when we don't have all the information is just not appropriate. However, we do live in a society where people are very quick to judge everything without adequate information. But hopefully over the next few years, with a lot of the trials that are ongoing, we will be getting more information.